So one of the questions I always get asked is, how did I get into theater? What's the story? So I'm gonna give you the story from middle school to now, okay? And I'm gonna sum it up as best as I can. Here we go. So when I was in middle school, I wanted to be a dancer. That's what I wanted. I wanted to be a dancer growing up. My mother was a dancer, and I was like, that's what I want to do. I took some dance classes when I was like 2 or 3, but does that really count? I don't know. After 3 years old, I was out of dance, but I still love to dance. So in middle school, I joined a hip hop team and then later became the captain of it. In 6th grade, I was practicing with the dance team out in the hallway because we got locked out of the classrooms. By the way, we didn't have like an arts program in our school. What we had were teachers that loved the arts. And after school, they would lend us their classroom. So we would push the desk back and everything on the tile floor with the chalkboard that later got turned into a smart board. I have no idea what classrooms look like right now. But we would change the room so that we had a little bit of a space to practice in. And shout out to teachers that are like that everywhere. The drama teacher came up to me and was like, hey, have you auditioned for a musical before? And I was like, no. So she was like, come to my audition and sing a song. See you there. I was like, okay. The person that really got me to audition for this musical was my cousin. And I don't think we've talked about this ever, but my cousin, which is like my sister, wanted to audition for the musical and asked if I auditioned with her. And so we came in and did it. We practiced the routine and we sang Do Re Mi from Sound of Music. That was our audition. And I auditioned with her, and that's how I got into theater. So I can honestly say she's the reason that I got into theater. And I'm so grateful for her for doing that. And I don't think I've ever said that before. I love you, Genesis. Shout out to you. So that's how I got into theater. And in 6th grade, we did Fame the Musical. Fame the Musical now is not a middle school show, but we did it anyways. There was a clean version, but the clean version still, it wasn't clean enough, okay? She needed work. And fast forward, the teacher that put on the musical and was the drama teacher ended up not having a show the next year because of how much Fame was. But it was awesome. I loved it. I loved it, and I will love Fame the Musical forever. So we did that in middle school, and 7th grade, there was no theater because of Fame. So in 8th grade, they allowed her to put back on a show, and so she chose The Wizard of Oz. But I auditioned and I got Dorothy, and I loved it. So I was like, you know what? Musical theater is the direction that I want to go in. And I think that's what I want to do. Like, I want to do this. It was time to audition for high schools. And I auditioned for all the schools that had a theater program. I was super excited. At the time, the only musicals I knew was Fame, Wizard of Oz, High School Musical because Disney Channel, and The Sound of Music. I didn't know too many musicals. So I came in singing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Fast forward, the one I got into and I accepted was a school called Robert Morgan. And I actually did not sing Somewhere Over the Rainbow. Something told me to change the song, and I sang Almost There from Princess and the Frog because my girl Tiana. I did all 4 years in the musical theater major, and then I majored later on in my junior to senior year in choir as well. During that, I was part of the dance team. I was doing all 3 disciplines at Robert Morgan, and I loved it. I ended up having 3 different drama teachers during my time there, unfortunately, because they just kept changing out from my freshman, sophomore, and then junior year. By junior, we had a stable teacher, and that was great. But I really took to YouTube. I really took to watching those videos online of the different performances, because I didn't even know about the Tony Awards. I had no idea that was a thing, like, in high school. In high school, I knew that there was Tony Award performances because of the things I YouTubed, but I didn't really gauge that this was something that happened every year, and like that it's like the whole big red carpet for the theater community. And I remember watching like You're Gonna Love Me for the first time on there. I watched like all these little tap numbers and all these like flashy things. I was like, oh, ho, 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 ho. Like, okay, like this is cool. So another thing that really kept the passion alive in high school during those transition periods of the different teachers was these thespian competitions. When I was a kid, oh my gosh, it exposed me to so many musicals. It exposed me to different songs and hair design, makeup design, costume design, all the things that were great. And people like sang in front of these judges, and you get rated. It's like another competition, right? So I did that my 4 years in high school. By the time I got into my senior year, I actually got Critics' Choice.
Yeah, received Critics' Choice for so. Ceremony where all the Critics' Choices perform, and I literally cried through her whole thing. And everybody was like floored by her. And they choose one. Oh my God, I'm crying. They choose one piece to represent the district at state, and Alicia won.
I got it for solo musical, and I sang Glitter and Be Gay. And I learned it listening to YouTube. It was amazing. Like everybody in the audience just like stood up and screamed, and like that was like in middle school where I was like, yeah, I want to do this. Going into college, the first 2 years was in person. Sophomore year comes COVID, and that was 2 years taken from like being in person and doing theater. At the end of my senior year, we had a showcase, and after the showcase, I graduated. And then after graduating, I got into the woods. There was a lot of course, stories in between that, but that's how the jumps happened. It was fast, and my love for the arts is ever growing, ever expanding. Because in college, I got into film and TV acting. And I was choreographing when I was a kid, directing when I was a kid. During the summer in college, I was choreographing and directing. So like all these different mediums in this performance space of art is just, I love it. And there was a part of me that always felt a little behind as a kid because of not being able to have all the things I thought that I needed, which was voice lessons and dance lessons and acting lessons and all that stuff, and being able to afford the things. So now as an adult, that mentality that's built into me, that's like, go on YouTube, like look this up, like talk to one teacher you trust. Though that is still in me. And that's what makes me do something like this boot camp. Like, that's what makes me want to just, wow. So what was the question? How did I get into theater? My community of people, the push from my cousin, and my love for the arts. Yep. Finishing it with a shout out. Here we go. Thank you so much for following and your love and support, and thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you on day 10. Bye.